Hey, it's Kevin. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've got another No BS social media chat for you this week, and we're talking about getting set up. And I know it's kind of funny to think we're going to be talking about the setup of social media sites, but I still see it again time and time again. Two new clients have had the exact same problem when it came to setup. When down the road they want to change something, and I enter their careers down the road, and there's not a lot I can do to help them fix the problem because when they first set up the accounts, they weren't set up properly. And one of the hardest players to work with is Google and YouTube. And boy, I think I've probably worked with maybe a dozen, 15 clients over the last few years who have wanted to make changes to their username, who've wanted to make changes to the way their channel's referred, things like that. And because the way they set it up doesn't work in the Google atmosphere, they're unable to make the changes. It's kind of funny. I had an artist who set up they set up their YouTube page using an AOL account, which you can do, but then they wanted to switch it to their Gmail account because they'd had a personal Gmail. Well, once you set up the Gmail account separately, you can't do that unless you attach a YouTube page to that particular Gmail. So the problem is, if you have a lot of subscribers and a lot of videos that are liked and a lot of comments and things like that on another channel, you can't just move it to your Gmail. They don't allow that. Once you've set it up with another outside email address now, you can't move it over to one, even if it doesn't have a page attached to it. You have to set up that page together. So as I always tell people, when we're getting set up, the first thing I do is, even though I don't use Gmail all the time, again, my email, either kevin@kevinmason.com, kevin@intensitymedia.net, either of those emails, I've had for years, but I also have Gmail accounts. So when I'm setting up something brand new for a client, whether it's a business, whether it's an artist, whether it's a media personality, whatever the client may be, I set up a brand new Gmail account, especially if they've got nothing online on YouTube. I build them together at the same time. It makes life so much easier. And guess what? It makes Google happy. It's easier to get things done. Now, of course, there are some changes in the way Google lets you have custom page names and custom URLs, or custom channel names, if you will, on YouTube. You have to have 100 subscribers. Now, there are other ways they say you can tag it into if you link it to your official website, if you sign up for monetization and AdWords and things like that. But in the last 6 months, I've done that to new clients who don't have 100 subscribers and have had no luck whatsoever getting those pages to pop up with the channel name we use. So then what you got to do is you've got to build a YouTube channel with the, if you want to follow me, hit channel/ZYX1_3256 or whatever it is, or I think it's like 10 or 12 characters now. Not easy to promote your channel that way. There are easy ways around it. There are shorteners, there are links you can use to kind of promote the channel without using the YouTube channel name, but it's frustrating and it's not fun. And I've talked to people at YouTube and I've talked to people at Google, and because they're so big, because there are so many videos posted, because the way it was originally set up by the non-Google team that started it, and the way they've built it into the Google system now, there are just some changes they can't make. There are just some things, and I guess they could make, but it would be more difficult on their end. Is it really worth it? That my inconvenience versus theirs. At the end of the day, as we talked last week, it's their playground. They make the rules. I have to live in them. Same thing with Facebook. If you don't set it up properly, set it up with a username on it originally, or set it up the right way, it can pose you problems down the road too. Twitter's not so bad. Twitter, when you get set up, you got to have a username that's 15 characters or less. They're the ones that have the shortest URL. So I always try to tell people, as we've been talking the last couple of weeks, when I set up usernames at all possible, I go to Twitter first, pick one that's under 15 characters. When I had my Kevin Mason music, it barely fits in there. But when I was working with Next Level Management, you couldn't have the username, twitter.com/Next Level Management. I was Next Level Manage. That was the 15 characters. I think it's 18 characters for Instagram. Facebook is like 34 characters, something like that, so they're not as bad. But again, if we're talking consistency like we talked last week, well, then you deal with that. I know once we get going on social media, we just want to get up and get running and get started. But if you take that little extra time, if you take some thought, you take some process, you look into things, you do some research on it, your setup process is going to be a whole lot better. And I know you're not thinking about social media 2 years and 3 years and 5 years down the road, but if you always think to the future, short-term, long-term, like you do with work, short-term and long-term goals, it'll help you a whole lot more. If they're properly set up from the start, you'll have less problems down the road. Just a fact of life, and again, something we got to deal with. It's their playground, but just a little helpful hint. And I know you want to get up and running, get started and get going, but a little bit of extra time will go a long way. We'll be back next week. Another extra time out of your schedule with another No BS social media video. My email, my phone number coming up. You can always find all the videos online. Our main channel for the videos, nobssocial.com. Our No BS social page as well on YouTube. You can subscribe there. Find us on Facebook. Well, we're not No BS Social there. You can find them on our Intensity Media page. We just ask you to come back where you are right now. Wherever you found us this week, find us again next week for another No BS social media video. Thanks. See ya.